What's up everyone, it's your buddy Matt here. Welcome back to my channel. Now for those of you who aren't on my Facebook page, you are not aware that I will be in a movie along with my uncle. It's a Gilles Villeneuve movie on his life, and we have to get a Blizzard clone ready for that race. Like I said, if you go to my Facebook page, I already posted some stuff about it, but we're gonna work on that today. Try to get this 1974 340 free air up and running for that movie. Stick around. So there's a special story behind this motor, and we will discuss that in a few minutes. But right now we're putting a little bit of gas in it, true to all of the old free air, 73, 74, 75 free airs. The tank leaked and it was repaired. So my uncle repaired it. We're going to put a little bit of gas in and just see if it leaks. And the idea now is just to start it up. This thing hasn't ran in about a year. It's got a freshly rebuilt motor, and we're just going to try to get this thing running to see, I guess, what we have to do to it to get it in tip-top shape. It's been about 20 seconds and so far so good. No leaking as of yet. So we appear to have a little bit of a choke issue. We're going to pull off that air box and take a little look. Why the heck the choke is not... Oh no, it looks like it's closing. Look at that full race spec lock wire, like a pro. So we thought we had a 73 engine in it, but turns out we got the 74 because it's got the polar fire. So we're just checking to make sure. Yeah, we're good. So we got spark on both cylinders, at least for the time being. And we know that our kill switch is good. It's on, so we're gonna get this guy going. Gonna try to start it on the choke. 1 year it hasn't started, and we try to get it going. We'll cheat a little bit. All right, so we kind of got the motor started, but it didn't really like turning over the track. And this is a new track, or at least new for this sled. We need a studded track for the movie because we're going to be kind of racing on ice. And if you notice, the idler wheel back here is really flush with the side, and those inserts are a little too far. And then we kind of noticed over here that, look at that rear shaft that's kind of floating. That hole right back there, that's where this bolt is supposed to go. So we're at least an inch out. So good news is that's an easy fix. We're just going to slack off that nut and then try to slide the shaft over to where it's supposed to go. So first we have to rotate that little hole down there, I guess clockwise upward so it's in line. Now we're going to take this aluminum bar and bang this idler wheel down to try to get that bolt to seat into the hole. All right, we got it. It's in. All right, so now we're well seated, and we screwed the bolts in as far as we can go. There's still no tension on the rear idler wheels, and we're gonna try starting it up again and see if we can get this track to move over. It's a little bit too much on this side, but we got to get it, slide it back over. So we'll try to rotate it slowly and move it over without damaging anything. Take two. All right, so that was half decent. Realized though that we didn't clip this guy back in properly. Another rookie mistake. I guess they're a little rusty. I haven't been working on sleds. We're already February, and this is the first sled that I'm working on this year. It's not as if I don't want to make videos. I just haven't really had any time to make any. Sorry, guys. But anyways, let's try starting on 2 cylinders. It's just about the worst thing you can do to a polar fire ignition, but yeah, we didn't have any way to turn it off just yet. We got to work on that now. So the key actually works, and then kind of followed the wires down and realized that we didn't have the engine hooked into the wiring harness. It was kind of tucked away, hidden away, so that should be another easy fix. I checked the continuity between the two purple wires, which are the ones that I'm kind of worried about over here, and we got continuity, so I don't see why that wouldn't fix the issue. So let's just clip this guy back in, and we should regain the capability of stopping this sled. We're making progress. All right, so the key's fixed, but now we have a bit of a bogging issue. So let's take a look at maybe carbs and hopefully not ignition. So we are on a roll. I don't want to jinx it, but we were on a roll for easy ones. We're just like, hey, let's just make sure we have enough gas in it, because we did lose a bit when we flipped the sled over. And sure enough, it's bone dry. So put a bit of gas in it, and hopefully that'll resolve our engine issue. So the JB Weld plastic is still holding up. It's been about an hour, I guess. And I guess we'll know tomorrow morning if there's a big puddle of gas on my garage floor. We'll know that it didn't work out, but I have confidence. So engine's flooded, swapped out the plugs, and got flooded again. And it's 2:58 and I gotta go home. So I think this is the end of day one, but we made some really good progress, and we'll be back tomorrow to keep going. All right, so day two, and the good news is there's no puddle of gas on the ground. We also have a newcomer over here. This is a 1969 Olympic. What kind of Olympic is it, Danny? 12.3. So 12.3 Olympic that we're gonna put back together. This thing just got painted. We got a whole bunch of new parts for it, and we're gonna be putting this thing back together right after we get this guy going. So my uncle just confessed that he's actually a little nervous. He doesn't think this thing's going to run today. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. It helps out the channel. And we're going to try to get this thing started. I think it's going to run. Let's check and see. Okay, so the motor ran pretty well. I had to feather the choke slightly, but we were only at about a third throttle. So we're gonna know more how well this thing runs when we get it out on the snow for a little bit of testing. But for the time being, we're satisfied with the way it's running. Now moving on to the dash, on an original 73 Blizzard, you would have had just a small dash insert over here with your tachometer. We don't have that, but we have a bunch of old free air dashes. So we ended up pulling the gauges out and recuperating this metal back plate over here. I cleaned it down a little bit, and we're gonna come and install it just like this. But I'm gonna have to make another hole over here, and we're gonna put the gauges back in. It's gonna look more or less like a real 73 Blizzard, and for our purposes, it's gonna be fantastic. All right, so we got the aluminum dash all put in. Gauges are in. I put the key. The key's supposed to be on this side. Moved it over this side. We're not going to have a light on this sled, so it doesn't really matter. And we still have to put in the choke, but we don't have the cable right now. I had to extend the wires out, seeing as I moved the key over, so I just soldered and heat shrinked some extensions. I actually had purple wires, so I had purple and black wires, so we even respected the color code. Now my uncle's just polishing down the tunnel, and we removed the 340 stickers. We're going to put 440 stickers because this is going to be a 440 Blizzard clone. All right, so that's the end of day 2. Tomorrow, we got to fit on the Kelsey Hayes hydraulic brake. We have to put the snow flap on, and I'd like to get this thing out onto the snow, at least to try it out and see what other issues there are, really test that engine out. And I got to tell you about that engine. I'm going to tell you about that tomorrow on day 3. All right, so day 3 was essentially an amalgamation of about 3 or 4 days of work, or at least half days of work. We kind of had to take apart a bunch of stuff that we put back together. So if you notice, the dash is no longer what it looked like. The fitment of the cab actually caused quite a bit of issues. When you look over here, I had to create a shim out of a couple blocks of aluminum in order to move this hinge backwards and upwards. And I had to get creative in shimming out this hood latch over here and this guy right over here. For some strange reason, the 74 Free Air appears to be about an inch or half an inch wider on either side. So like I said, the initial dash didn't really fit anymore because it was held on by the sides, and the cab now came way too flush with that. So I ended up cutting that dash out. I ended up making these kind of adjustable bolts, again, with just jam nuts on either side, and I was able to move it out as far as I could in order to get this pretty much flush with the cab. By moving this guy in a little bit, the speedometer cable did not fit with the airbox, so we ended up junking that. The key switch was also an interference with this frame over here, and that ended up being good news because the choke didn't fit either. So the choke went where the key went, and I ended up just installing this toggle switch on off for the key. Race regulations requires us to have a kill switch, so wired that in. These polar fire ignitions are a little bit of a hassle. It's a 3-wire system, so what we did was we ended up just cutting this red wire that ends up going to the, I guess, the stator winding, and merging that in with the kill switch, with my little toggle switch, and we end up grounding it. So that's how we're going to shut off the motor. We're just going to ground out that red wire, and that should work. The final thing we did was put the numbers on it. So 932, that was Mike Trapp's number when he raced for Bombardier in the early 70s, and we got Mike's permission to go ahead and put that on the sled. So it's kind of a little tribute to Mike Trapp and his wonderful career. All that's left now is to take this thing down to Valcourt and test it out. Live at the Valcourt track, and as you can see, the blizzard's running well. It's now as good a time as any to talk about the motor, and we actually had this engine rebuilt by Réal La Rochelle. If you go and check my video when we went to Valcourt with Mike Trapp and Réal, he was Mike Trapp's race mechanic. Now, as you know, this sled is the homage to Mike Trapp's 73 Blizzard, and it's pretty cool that Réal was the one that rebuilt the engine. So from A to Z, new pistons, it was bored, new crank bearings, everything. The entire engine was gone through by that master mechanic. So really excited, and it didn't disappoint. It's running flawlessly.
So the sled's all tested, we're confident, and we're already here in Valcourt. I'm shooting the video already. Stay tuned for that one. It's gonna be the next one that I'm gonna post. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Stay tuned for the next one. Sign it out.